All right, thanks everyone. Once again, we're back. Please hit the like and subscribe button at the bottom. I would definitely appreciate it. It would help out the channel, and I'll be able to spend more time on this. The more time I can spend on this, I still got to take care of my family stuff, but the more time I can spend on this, more videos I can put out, and the quicker, I can expose all these allegations and go through everything and kind of get through it all, because my whole thing is there's a lot of allegations with a lot of similarities, and we're going to get to it all, but my personal opinion, I'll just save that for the end, so please stay tuned. This is part 2. I'm going to pick up where I left off. Last time I was talking about, rest in peace, Ashley Massaro. She had passed away May of 2019. Moving on to June 17, 2019. Miss Grant, Janelle Grant, she had started with met Vince McMahon, so he was getting ready, to start working for the WWE in the upcoming months. They met through I want to say it's the maintenance guy and the big condo place in Connecticut where they both lived. Whole backstory on her. She was down on her luck and everything like that. Parents passed away. But we're going to get through the whole 67 pages at a later date, because that's a lot to get through, and I'm not going to have time right now. So, and then in 2020, there was a lot of Vince McMahon allegations that had surfaced. Like I said, we're going to go through that when we go through the actual 67-page lawsuit. 11/21 of 20, Ronald Massaro, Ashley's brother, his life was taken. I don't want to go into too many gory details on here, but in the streets of New York. And I found it weird little coincidence. Like, I was like, oh, well, that's right in the middle of New York. And I had also, if you had watched part 1, I had told you about where the headquarters was in New York. So I'm like, well, I'm just curious, how far from the headquarters? Like half mile. So that was a really weird coincidence too, that it was so close to the former headquarters. WWE and Vince has always had a lot of history. New York, he's from Connecticut, mainly Texas. A lot of stuff has happened in Texas. A lot of people from Texas. But he's global, so he's been around the world. He's got connections everywhere. He's got a lot of money too, so, but he's done a lot of shady stuff to get this money, in my personal opinion, like Owen Hart letting the matches go on. I'm gonna have to go back through all this and just give you a little quick breakdown on everything, if I haven't already, on how I feel about it. But 2 days after his passing, I thought was kind of weird. The Undertaker gave his farewell speech. So 2 days after his life had been taken, really close to the former headquarters, the Undertaker gave, his farewell speech. So, and I also want to say rest in peace to Tom Cole. 12/21, he took his own life. And he was, for people that don't know, he was one of the ring boys for the Ring Boy scandal. And that was in the early 90s. I'll look back, I think it was 93. Also want to mention, in the first video, I talked about how weird, okay, so WWE was supposed to change its name to, it was WWF, had changed its name as being sued. It did finally change its name one day after the plane ride from hell, which I talk about in part 1. So it's just a lot of, weird coincidences. People talk about the Ultimate Warrior. People talk about Randy Savage. Just a bunch of weird coincidences. But I do want to say, once again, rest in peace to Ashley Massaro, Tom Cole, Eddie Guerrero, Owen Hart. Is there anybody else? I'm going to have to just do a whole nother video. I want to do one on every wrestler. Kind of give them a spotlight, So I'm going to start going through, wrestlers that passed away and kind of doing their own video on them. So that ought to be pretty cool. But first, I'm going to get through all this. A few short weeks after in 2020, a few short weeks after I was telling you about how Ronald Massaro had passed, and then the Undertaker's farewell speech. I know that it was because of sports season, but once again, really weird. They moved the Thunderdome from the Amway Center to Tropicana Field. Once again, sports, the sports teams needed it, so I understand that. But there's just a lot of weird coincidences. But man, I think it's cool to highlight because it's like, wow, that matches that. Like, okay, so but I'm not trying to sit here, disclaimer, I'm not saying there's any conspiracy theory. What I am saying is when you have employees and you don't properly take care of them, they're left damaged, their family's left damaged, and it trickles down. It has a domino effect. So even though you don't physically, hurt somebody, you are hurting somebody. If they're having mental health problems, and they're having all these things from the way they was treated working for your company, and then they tell their relatives and they pass away and everything, I do want to say that Ronald Massaro was in good spirits and everything, and when his life was taken, it was 12 hours after released from rehab. So that's kind of, weird to me too. Like, literally, you get on a bus, you get off, and then the man was arrested for doing it. He said that it was because the cops didn't get the drugs off the streets, and it was a secret. Them were the only two things I could find on what he said of why he would do something like that. 2022, I'm just going to say Miss Grant. I'll just say Miss Grant. She signed an NDA under pressure after everything listed from 2019 to 2022. An NDA is a non-disclosure agreement, which you can't talk to anybody about anything. Up until late 2022, you could use it to cover up crimes, that kind of stuff. You can no longer do that. They changed it. They don't want you using non-disclosure agreements to be able to, which is, if you look at it, it's right. You shouldn't be able to hide your crimes with a piece of paper. You just shouldn't be able to. So I completely agree with that. 2022, more allegations surfaced. 6/22, there was a hush money missing was listed as irregular accounting errors. So that's one more thing. How many victims is out there? How much hush money? The biggest conspiracy theorist could, say maybe the hush money is more than this, but right now it's just, from all the details we have. That's one thing I want to do say. Don't ever, innocent till proven guilty is how it should be. So, yes, technically he's innocent, but if you look at everything and you make your own analysis, your opinion would lead you to, most people don't get accused this many times. Most people don't have similarities and patterns and coincidences and people making videos of foreshadowing, and most people don't go through this. So that's one thing I will say. Make your own opinion. I've already kind of made mine, and I think he's being honest with everybody on it. I think he's guilty for most of this, if not all of it. But I do know the whole backstory, how he came in and ran everybody out and didn't pay them all the money, and further businesses took over, and then he'd get talent in and tell them, do this or you're not going to get a push, do that, or, I do know that he ran it, and he ran it not very good at all. And he was worried about getting the money right off the bat instead of building. And he didn't want to care about connections. He'd rather put everybody out of business. But anyway, in 2022, he cashed out his stocks and left. He'd come back later. What you do when you do that is, they call it illegal stock trading. And what you do with the shareholders is you rip them out of money. Also, not only did he clear out a bunch of money, but let's just take into consideration, he cleared out a bunch of money, right? Well, what else happened? There's reports out he purchased, they joined up with Endeavor when there was bigger tables on the offer, which meant the shareholders would have made more money. So he made the decision because he thought he was going to be brought along, and maybe did plan on it, but I'm pretty sure they already knew about, they're going to, later on is when they're going to take over. I'm telling you about it now, but they had already knew about the hush money when they took ours. So they planned on getting rid of him anyway. They was waiting for everything to come down the pipe, and then they was putting, in my personal opinion, they was putting a boot to Vince anyway. He was going to be gone. He just thought he was going to get to stick around, unlike the other companies that straight up told him, you're going to be gone. So, but anyway, the shareholders lost money on that. So he made a decision that didn't benefit the shareholders. It might have benefited him, but if you have, I'm not going to do the math right now, but, well, let's just say you have 100 shares and you take a loss of $7 a share. You lost $700. So, the more shares you own, the more money you're losing. So, and that's why I said in 2022, he cashed out and he played the people in the market. Then in 2022, 4-2 and 4-3, Vince was at WrestleMania. He knew all this was coming down. He knew all this was going to happen. But he still showed up to get a little bit of fame and glory, you know what I mean? He's already rich. He's already got all these problems. But he didn't make sure that he was seen, Hey, I'm going to be here in case this is my last WrestleMania ever. It probably will be. I don't ever expect to see him back personally. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but I don't expect to see Vince back. I think he knew that this was coming down the pipe, and he took advantage of it by showing up at WrestleMania. So, yeah, did he know that he was about to be exposed? Probably. 6/15/22, year 2022, Vince McMahon's scandal was revealed. Hush money. So, this is 9 days after the 6/22, the irregular counting errors. Which, Vince knew. He knew this stuff would eventually one day come out. People with skeletons in their closet, they only hide them so long. I mean, I didn't expect to ever see when they'd catch the person that took Tupac out either. You know what I mean? Ended his life. Rest in peace to him. But I mean, stuff's starting to come down now. You're starting to find out about stuff, even that happened in the 90s or whatever. It's, whatever goes in the dark comes out in the light. I mean, you can only keep it hidden for so long. So, 6/17/22, Vince stepped down as chairman and CEO. Then he appeared on Raw 3 days later. And then 10/5/22, Sarah Lee committed suicide. Which, interesting fact, I think it was 23 years exactly to the day after Gorilla Monsoon passed away. Which, those that don't know, he was a big-time announcer figure in the 90s, and he was a big-time person there in the 90s. But I just thought that was, unique. 23 years to the day. But, yeah, unfortunately, Sarah Lee, 10/5/22, would take her own life. Rest in peace to her. They said it was, I need to dig in further. They said it was a bunch of alcohol and everything like that, but I don't know. I haven't been able to find a lot about everybody, like, before they joined the WWE and after, wrestling. It's mainly about their time in wrestling and when they pass. So, when you're not given that much knowledge, you can't really, but maybe, she had, some problems or something too. But rest in peace to Sarah Lee. 2023, Vince returned. And I want to make a point to mention out, when he returned, he booted Stephanie. I mean, Stephanie would have stayed, but she didn't want to take less money and get demoted basically to stay. She didn't need the money either, so. So yeah, he returned. Stephanie left. I will say it seems like Stephanie and Shane's been avoiding him a lot since the early 2000s. My personal opinion. Like 423, WWE moved headquarters. It's still in Stamford though. But I'm pretty sure when I get to the lawsuit, there's stuff, that takes place. And then another thing is he met right before they, said they're selling Titan Towers, excuse me. Right before they said the day before they said they were selling Titan Towers. Or, never mind, take that back. The day after they said they was selling Titan Towers, they came out and announced their intention to move. Excuse me. I don't know what's going on today. So a day after, so just wrap your mind around this. The day after he meets her, Miss Grant, they say their intention is to move. And then in 423, they finally was able to move. So, and then we can go back and track. Hang on one second. Where is it? So yeah, I just thought that was weird that you meet her and then I'm gonna move. Like, just strange, I guess. I don't know. But I do notice, like, whenever he's in trouble and stuff, there's a lot of stuff that goes on and stuff. But anyway, in September of 2023, they entered into a deal with Endeavor to become TKO. January 2024, Miss Grant's lawsuit against Vince surfaced. Okay, so let's go through, like, some of the similarities and patterns and differences and opinions on it. If you go back and you look at, like, the tanning salon and then 1992, the ref, basically he forcing people into stuff they don't want to do. I'm going to say it like that, so 'cause I don't have to, age appropriate it, but I've noticed he's forced people in a lot of times. I've noticed there's been a lot of so just that one alone and that one alone. And then if you go look now, what's going on? She was an employee. He made her an employee. Anytime Vince has ever had any issues except the tanning salon has been an employee. So, and then I'm not finding very many differences. Like, I mean, yeah, one's at a tanning salon, one's in a car, but I'm not finding very many differences. But I will say that they've all been employees. He's forced himself on almost all of them. Most of them he played mind games with. Most of them he didn't want to either pay, or he paid up the money real quick and avoided it. Sympathy, he's always, this happens bad, let's finally change our name. This happens bad, I know this is gonna, turn bad because I have bad intentions, let's plan to move. I mean, if you just go through and you just connect all these dots, you'll be able to see. So that's some of the similarities, patterns, and differences. My opinion is, okay, so I'm going to look at it from both sides when we go through this. Is there possibly that he had nothing to do with steroids in the 90s? I mean, it's possible, but highly unlikely, I think. Highly doubtful that he had nothing to do with it. Rita, the ref I told you about in part 1, her story never changed. We're talking, this happened in 86. Okay, we're talking over 35, more than 35 years later, and it's the same story. Most people's story changes. Most people's story don't stay the same. And then, people, they can say whatever they want, like, well, I don't believe he's going to give her that much money anyway, or, you know what I mean? Or maybe if you're going through something like that, you could probably mishear it, but, he could also say, I'll give you a lot of money that nobody's seen before, this is how much. We don't know, but I'm just going to say my personal opinion is that he had something or knew something about the steroids, and I do believe the victim in 1992. That's my personal opinion. She has the week. It's been so long and everything, and I don't know that she could physically try to do anything at this point, except with everything coming out with Miss Grant, it might help her out, with her story being, out there more and people, but then it might just help them. But then that's the thing too with the law. They can't, like, they know he has a whole history of allegations and stuff like that, but they can't automatically say that he's, guilty for a bunch of stuff, because then their input when they go to court for the lawsuit, or if there's criminal charges, it's tainted. If you're thinking that somebody is, committing a bunch of crimes and getting away with it, you're not going to be able to think from either side of the coin. So, but that was his first one, like, some people, they run a business 35, 40 years, they probably get one allegation, maybe, somebody's trying to get money, but it's not usually one after another, and there's not usually similarities and everything like that. It usually don't happen like that. So I think he was involved in that. I do think he was involved in the stuff from 92. I do think that he knew that there was, I'll just say, the stuff with the ring boys, which, my personal opinion, why are you even 13 years old setting up a ring, especially traveling across state lines? And what about the Mann Act? What about the laws? There ain't no law against that. What about the wrestlers? Like, even though they're supervised, you really want to wrestle in a ring that was put up by 13-year-olds. And this is not a knock towards 13-year-olds. They're even smart these days. But they're also forgetful. They also forget to do one or two things if somebody could be seriously hurt. I just don't know. The whole thing, I do believe that he knew about some of it, and he didn't do it. He didn't enforce it. There was never nothing physically against him on that, doing it. But when you have people inside of your company, you're responsible for them. When you already have a bunch of allegations, too, might I add. You know what I mean? So, once you start getting allegation after allegation, allegations helping people evade domestic violence and other charges, the worst charge you can get, let's just say it that way, taking someone's life. When he went to court, he wore a neck brace. Was he hurt, or was he doing it for sympathy? If you go back and you look into it, he does a lot of stuff for sympathy. Look at some of his interviews. Look at some of the stuff he says. I haven't even got into China. She's not in the Hall of Fame. One of his interviews, he says China, all these girls are going to get the money and the fame and get what they want. I don't think China got what she wanted. I think when she was looking for help in her darkest days, nobody was there. Where was everybody at? Vince want to sit on there, oh, everybody ever got what they wanted out of this. But half of them, well, maybe not half, but a lot of them didn't even make it to age 45. I'm sure they didn't get everything they wanted out of the business. Go back and look at some of his interviews and then put it to other stuff and just investigate. I'm telling you guys, this dude is, my personal opinion, full disclaimer, this has not been clarified, he is a walking, my personal opinion, he's a walking, how do I even want to say this, crime spree. Let's put it that way. I mean, I think he throws his power around. I don't think he has very much, I think he kind of dislikes God the way he acts. I think he don't have any respect for women. I mean, my personal opinion, he might have helped a few people get into business and stuff. Did they stay in the business? Were they the main guys? Because I'll tell you what, I went back and I looked. The main guys, some of them went on to have super popular lives outside of wrestling. And some of them went on to have struggles. And then, you know, like the Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage. And then a lot of the lower guys, you know, they're not even, unfortunately, rest in peace to them, they're not even here anymore. So this whole thing, you can't, I understand the whole WWE is, you know, I'm not going to say fake. What I'm going to say is predetermined outcomes. Yeah, they pick the winner. Yeah, they give the wrestler they want a push. But the other wrestlers and stuff, you got to make them look as good as possible even when they're losing. You got to do stuff for them to make them, you know, you got to build them up. Like, it's hard. It's hard being, you know, I'd imagine being a lower to middle card guy that's always waiting to get that big break, and the company don't believe in you. They don't think you're going to be able to be the one to lead the company and be the next big superstar. And it's hard, but you got to keep working at your craft, and you're supposed to build these people up. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to guarantee it, but one day, just keep working hard, you know, just put your head down, and then you got to be a good owner as well. You can't be out here getting in trouble, acting a fool. We're getting allegations in general. Sometimes you're just better off to not put yourself in a bad situation. Like, if you done been accused of a bunch of stuff, set up a camera in your house and have someone come over and give you whatever to say you want a massage. You know, have your own, maybe not in your house, but you can go to a place or something. But take somebody with you. I mean, there's got to be a way to, like, if Vince thinks that everybody's targeting him, to still go to the salon, and then, you know, so, which, that was all allegations, it fizzled out, but I'm just saying, sometimes people put themselves in bad places, and then stuff happens, and they are innocent, but you was in the wrong place with the wrong people or whatever. I don't think that's the case, personal opinion, but, so, I mean, yeah, that would be, also, I was going to mention real quick, the Billy Jack Haynes case. He said a lot of stuff about, you know, Vince over the years, and, you know, I'm trying to figure out what's going on, why did he, you know, he's also admitted all, like, the boys on track, he's also admitted a lot of trouble he's been in, too, and I'm just trying to, like, figure out why he would do that, and why, like, something happens with a wrestler every time, you know, every time Vince is in trouble, something happens. Or every time there's a big move in the company, it's, you know, right after something happened. Or, like, why he would, I don't know, Billy Jack Haynes. I want to first say rest in peace to the woman that lost her life. I don't have her name right in front of me, his wife or girlfriend at the time. I'm just trying to figure out, she had dementia. I guess he started to have dementia. Did he do it as, like, I don't want to make no assumptions, but like a mercy? Or did he just flip out and do it? Or, I know he's been battling a lot of demons with the whole Vince McMahon and stuff over the years. There's other wrestlers, Nails and Ryback. There's all kinds of just, if you go watch some of the interviews, go watch Paul London talk about, he was a good friend and boyfriend for a brief time with Ashley Massaro. Just start digging deep, start investigating, and you'll be able to find out some stuff. So start watching it. There's a lot of videos too some videos I watch on here. I don't know if I'm allowed saying them or not, but I don't think they'd be mad if I'm trying to help them out. The Sacrifice, the Purple Sky. She does a great job of going over the cases. He does a great job of filling you with weird coincidences too along the way and everything like that. So, like I said, last thing that happened was the whole Billy Jack Haynes after all this Vince McMahon, and I'm probably just going to have to expand the channel, to be honest, because, I've seen this morning that there was a shooting at the Kansas City parade, and rest in peace to anybody that lost their life there, and I'm sorry for, anybody that was hurt there, just trying to attend a championship parade and have a good time. That's just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why anybody would do that. The church is the same thing, Joel Osteen's church. Just absolutely ridiculous, I don't know why here last few months everybody been wiling out either. If anybody want to comment, let me know on that. I know his stuff is older, but the church, look at Billy Jack Haynes, look at the parade. The last couple months, it's 2024, I guess, has been just crazy. So, alrighty, well, once again, please hit the like and subscribe, support the channel. I'm gonna be leaving also. I don't really make no money with this channel, and that's not what it's about, but I will be leaving my Cash App tag on my next video, and then if you want to Cash App me a few dollars or something, if you want to ask any direct questions where I do a video and I put the answer out, an in-depth answer, or you want to even about opinions, or you want to have a conversation, or maybe I'll make a certain fee where we can actually link up and do a show together, I'm kind of new on here, so I haven't really started. I'm just doing videos right now. I haven't really gotten the whole podcast thing, and I'm gonna go out and buy me a ring stand so I don't have to hold my phone, and I'm gonna get better, I promise. Please bear with me, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening. And the next one I think we're gonna do is break down this 67-page lawsuit. And it's going to take a while because I'm going to tell you what the defense and what the prosecution's probably going to go with and how they're going to sway their way out of it or not. So, but I'll give you a good, insight on. I want to make this perfectly clear to everybody. I'm not like an attorney or anything like that. I have studied law enforcement, at a high school level. I do know, I think, a lot of stuff, for just being a civilian that's interested in that kind of thing, just like I'm interested in football and wrestling and stuff like that. So I'm really wanting them to do away with everybody within the WWE that's ever been under Vince and just start over fresh. That's my hope, that they can get that done, and I think that will make it a lot better, because I still am not going to give up on the WWE. I'm still going to, I still support the wrestlers until I find out that they, whatever they did, just like I said, innocent until proven guilty. I know why they're getting, deleting everything about Brock Lesnar. I understand it because of the image thing, and maybe they know more, but the whole spoofing with phones has been a whole nother thing. People can text you whatever they want and use your phone. I'm not saying Vince did that, but if he wanted to, he could have been messaging her using Lesnar's number. Everything will come out, though. There are cell phone records that will all come out. So once again, I want to say I'm not jumping any conclusions. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not saying anything. I'm not making any wild conspiracy theories. I'm just saying there's a ton of coincidences. And to me, that seems really weird, like it should be doubled down on and checked. If I was law enforcement, I would just be honest. I would just to make sure, I would just double check and go through and see, because it's just been too much weird stuff over the years. And this dates back a long time. I mean, the Brian Pillman segment where he had, a firearm on and everything, and then that same year he passes. The boss man's released him within a month. I think month and a half he passes. I don't think he just got released and ended up deciding to make a bunch of bad decisions and getting on, illegal stuff. So, all right. Once again, everybody, thank you for joining in. Thank you for taking the time. I know this has been a long video. I appreciate your patience. And please feel free to comment. I'll be nice to you, even if it's negative or positive. God bless everybody. And yes, please like and subscribe. Thank you.